is, since I showed a demo since I didn't want it to be a repetitive topic. So what we saw in the demo was one aspect of how we can handle EBOMs, or how the engineering side can be handled. The other aspect is via the snapshot. So today we can see how is snapshots may be expected within the PO system, and what are the aspects related to it. So when we have a snapshot coming in, we had, if you remember, we had discussed, theoretically about snapshots and MRS, manufacturing reference structures. So we will combine both, and we will see how in the system how it can be done. But when you talk about snapshots, just to give you a quick overview, snapshot is basically combining all the objects that maybe has to be available in PO for a certain EBOM file. So for an EBOM header, all of its subassembly EBOMs, and maybe its documents or PMI files, what was linked to it, what was required for it, and what all these can be attached in a single snapshot and sent to the PO system. So when it comes to the PO system, we will of course process it from our side. But right now for our training, we will directly create a snapshot in the PO system. There is no application, of course, because there is nothing that will be delivered to customers, but we have an API which I'll use and create a snapshot for my EBOM. So what would be the prerequisite? You will have one EBOM. The structure under that EBOM could be whatever you're defining. If you want to do hands-on, you could define a simple structure. If you are looking for a more complicated one, you could define that as well. So the structure can be anything, but you need one EBOM. And firstly, it should be in the in-process state. So that would be a prerequisite, that we have an EBOM and it is in the in-process state. So let me show you the EBOM structure that I have. When you have a visual file, you already know how to convert it to a EBOM using VMP. So I will not go through that again, but I will just show you what is the structure that I have in place. It's taking some time to load. Okay, let me try again. So this is a 0-1 planning scenario. So it was a visual file, this intake ASM. So using the scenario, I just converted it to a EBOM, and I've kept the EBOM in the in-process state. It is not yet released. So your EBOM can be of any hierarchy, but the system seems to be quite slow today. Meanwhile, just trying to show the assignment. Okay. So you can see this is how my EBOM is. I have a air filter assembly, throttle body, upper, airbox upper, lower intake header. So this is what I have. And for the first time, I will keep it in the in-process state. And why we are keeping it in process, it is not with respect to the snapshot, but rather with respect to the MRS. So we had also covered the MRS topic, which is the reference designator, or you can use it to define kind of a functional location for your BOM. So the here also, like what in the case of snapshot, we will not be delivering anything to customer where they can create MRS. We are expecting this to be provided from their side when the EBOM is moved to the PO system. But if not, we again have a report which you can use. Again, this MRS generator will be available in the newer releases. So if you go to MRS generator, you see all these options. So if you before you kind of start off with this, you need to know what is the mapping that you want to do. So for this Excel, if you see this left side, what you see is my BOM assignment. Here, let me just expand it. So what you see from column A to D is my BOM assignment, and that is the same, or the BOM hierarchy. That is the same thing that you saw in VMP just now, the same hierarchy I've given here. But I have not put all the components because the list is a bit huge. So I've just put maybe the components that I want to work on with respect to MRS, and the other components I have not just added here. This is just for visual representation. So MRS is not mandatory for every field, but of course it's up to your to the engineer's choice on if the MRS should be defined. But if MRS is defined, maybe in the ideal scenario it would be defined for all the components, but it's not a mandatory thing. So what you see here on the left side is how I am going to define my MRS. I'm kind of giving the same prefix of the material ID so that it will be easier to identify, but this is the MRS hierarchy. So if you look at this, the hierarchy in general should look the same. So what I mean by that is I have assembly intake ASM is my header. I have air filter, subassembly, throttle body, upper airbox, lower intake header, whatever, according to what was displayed for us. The hierarchy should look the same for MRS as well, because you will be mapping it for each of the component, right? So the hierarchy should look the same. So like how we define the BOM hierarchy. So when we define a BOM, you say this is the, firstly you will create all the materials, right? And then you'll create all the materials irrespective of what the hierarchy is going to be. And then you say, this is my header one. Under that, I have components 1, 2, 3, 4. And I create another BOM and I say I have components of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is what a BOM, how a BOM is defined. So similarly, we will define the MRS. So with respect to what I said, how would we define MRS? You will of course have to individually create all these nodes. So in MRS, it is called reference objects. So all the nodes here are named as reference objects, and you will have to create these individually. Later, you will have to kind of create a structure using these reference objects. So the structure will basically tell you, will give you this, right? It will tell you what the structure is going to be. So I create a root node here and I assign MRS 1, 2, 3, 4, what you see in this column G, and I save it. Then I go and create a root air filter and I create 1, 2, 3, 4, what you see in H. I assign all of these MRS objects and I save it. So that is how the MRS hierarchy will get created. So to do the first few steps, this is how it's going to look like. You have the reference object option. So you need to give whatever your ID is. Say, for example, I say air intake. So in your case, you click on create, but here I will display. So you can see that here it is just giving the ID, nothing else is required. You can of course group it, but we will look into the direct way. So you can just give the ID. And for the first header MRS, like how we have the header BOM, the header MRS, you need to mark it as object is only root. So it is going to be the root for our whole structure. You need to mark this. And based on the example, you need to create objects for everything, like for the air filter housing, what we have here. So, okay. So there is an air filter housing here. So you can create accordingly. Yeah. So you can create accordingly. You have to create all the objects. Okay. And this is a reference object. Now you need to create a reference structure. So firstly, you define or you give your MRS object header here. For our scenario, it is this. And you can click on create. For now, since I have it, I will display it. So when you display, let me edit. So if you have to add a new node under this, you see that these are text fields, okay? And this is a F4, so which object you have already created, you need to refer it here, but others are text field. So for airbox hold, or this might be a better one. So I have two intake headers in my example, right? So for one intake header, I'm giving the reference object. So the reference object is the same. I only created one intake header, but my designated ID, the MRS designated ID, will be different. It will be the location that I want to specify. So in my case, left and right. So one intake header I'm saying is left, and one intake header I'm saying is right. So this, again, you are free to define it based on how you want. But this is one such scenario where I say left, right, filter casing, I say down, air filter housing cover, something like this. These are my MRS designators that you have to define for each object. And this is my root MRS or the header MRS. Under that, I'm saying these are the objects that I want, and these are the MRS designator IDs. This is just a description. But if you look at this filter casing, I have not provided any ID. That is because for okay, this is just a description. But for filter casing, if it is a root node, so filter casing, if you look at the example here, it is a leaf node. There is going to be nothing beyond that. So if it is a leaf node, then you can, this will be optional. The MRS designator part will be optional for you. Yeah. So this is how your MRS hierarchy will look like. And now I take this air filter housing. And I again have created another reference structure for this. So I click on display. So you can see this is how I've created inlet funnel, airbox upper, airbox hold. So these are few components that I wanted to add underneath. If you look at this airbox hold, I do not have a, I have just highlighted airbox hold here, but I do not have a related assembly. Okay, so this, I will tell you what it is, but you can just remember this. So I do not have a related assembly in the BOM hierarchy. You can see that for airbox lower, I do have assembly here, but for hold, there is nothing. There is a assembly in MRS, but there is nothing in the BOM. Similarly, if you look at the throttle body, which I've marked here in red, it is available in BOM, but parallelly in the MRS, it is not available. In the hierarchy, I have not mentioned it at all. Okay, so this too you can just make a note of. Okay. So this is how your hierarchy should be created. And now that we have created our EBOM, EBOM is in the in-process state. So that is why we keep the EBOM in process to make the MRS assignment. So once it is released, it cannot be, we cannot have an MRS assignment. So if you have to do it after release, you have to create another BOM version and only then make the changes. So you can see another option here, which says BOM to MRS assignment. So basically, if you just look at the fields, you are giving the BOM value. It could be anything. You could even directly specify it in the EBOM, in the MBOM. But again, we will be starting with the EBOM for us. So you give all the EBOM values. And if you plant also, if you do the F4, you see whatever material you've given, you'll get the BOMs related to that. So you can see that version 3 is already released, but ideally this would be 01 when you're assigning it for the first time. So whatever is 01 version, it means it is in process and you have to select that. And the reference object, this is intake ASM is my header, right? So I will select the header MRS hierarchy. And you say create, I will display here. So you can see that we have a pictorial representation of how the BOM and MRS looks like. This assignment screen is a single level assignment. So you cannot do multi-level assignments. Like I cannot open intake header and take something here and assign it here. That can be done, but that is a different. It will cause a different action in the background. So for now, we will see the single level assignment part. So this is my BOM structure that you see here. And this is my hierarchy. So the first time you create, you have to just find a save option here. So you have to just save, and it will create a root assignment between it. You don't have to make anything. If you just save, it will just pick the header of this and header of this, and it will establish a root assignment in the backend. Now, once the root assignment is done, for air filter housing, since it has only one instance, you will find that under that you have to go and select this one. You don't assign it directly here in the BOM, but here, and you select the related MRS, what you want to assign it to, and you click on the assign button. So here you can see once you assign the root assignment, that is the root MRS, air intake is the root, and the designator is the cover, which is picked from here. This is how the assignment is going to be. It is going to take the root of the MRS so that we can always backtrack it to what the root is, and the current MRS designator is the cover that is picked up from here. So similarly, you can assign for everything wherever you want. So you can see for filter pleats, it is left, facing down, etc. So all this has been assigned, and you can see that I have a airbox hold option here, but we will come to this later. Okay, so this is the initial level assignment. Do you have any questions up to here?
Sandra, you were mentioning about MRS.
Yeah, yes.
So is there any way to edit, I mean, whatever coming from, can we edit them? References?
You can edit them using this MRS generator, but within the applications, it is always going to be display only functionality. So it's like making a modification using your API, but directly via the applications, we don't allow any modifications.
So what APIs will be required in case if we are using 3D Experience as PLM, or I mean, in our case, we are using SolidWorks as PLM?
Yeah. So from the PO side, you can use the transaction MRS generator. This will allow you to create, I mean, we will not be creating, but it will allow you to make changes to your MRS.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so now we did our first level assignment. I will go to air filter housing. So here again, I'm selecting the BOM version that you want. And I'm giving the air filter housing is my BOM, and reference object, you have to select the related reference object. So for me, it will be air filter housing. If I create this, here firstly, you see that I have a sub-assembly throttle body. Underneath, I have some components. But what I am doing is, I will not assign any MRS to the throttle body. Instead, I am assigning the inlet funnel. So there is no sub-assembly under air housing for the inlet funnel. Inlet funnel is just marked as an object. So I'm assigning this inlet funnel to the MRS, to the BOM here. Okay. So when you do this in the application, you will not find any difference because it will just show you the hierarchy. But just for your understanding, in the backend, it will create a BOM path for a BOM path in the table, which means I am skipping a assembly, right? So I'm not making any assignment. When you're doing a one-to-one assignment, it is easier. You need to always keep a track of what is the BOM and what is the hierarchy MRS, because when you're making a EBOM to MBOM handover, you will always keep changing the BOM hierarchy. But your MRS still needs to kind of keep track of that and stay the same. So you need to keep a track of what is your BOM hierarchy. And here, since we are keeping one level, in the backend, what happens? This assignment will happen. It will happen fine, but in the backend, it will create a material path. This is just to keep track of the assignment that we're doing. So in the front-end applications, in the PO applications, the user will not find any difference. But this is just for your understanding. So this, I am assigning the inlet funnel to this inlet funnel, and I have a airbox hold here. So what happened here is I skipped a assembly in the BOM. Now I have a extra assembly in MRS, which is called airbox hold. I do not want to assign airbox hold to anything. Instead, I want to directly assign the airbox filter, airbox lower here. Airbox lower, I want to directly assign. So I will, yeah, this is under this. So what I will do, again, I will assign, but because we are skipping a hierarchy in MRS, it will create a MRS path in the backend. So for us, when we see, it will not make any change, but this is again for you to understand. So when you skip any assemblies in the MRS, it will create a MRS path. If you skip any assemblies in the material, it will create a material path for you. So this is how you will assign MRS to your BOM. You can continue with the assignment until you see something like this. So you can assign it, of course, even more. But for us, we will do this assignment. So once the MRS assignment is done and you say, okay, this is my final assignment, you will release the BOM of whatever version you're using. You'll have to release it. So releasing the BOM can be either done via the BOM maintain bill of material application or via the VMP. When you did this planning, when you planned and exited the first time, it would have just created EBOM in process. So you can come here and do mark for release all and save it. So it will release all of its sub-assemblies and your BOM with the MRS hierarchy is created. Okay. So any questions so far with respect to the MRS?
Sir, one question I have. You see, MRS, I mean, generally in case of spatial kind of projects wherein the buildings are constructed or some steel structure is built, I mean, there this MRS is really useful. How useful it is when it comes to compact assemblies?
when it comes to compact assemblies, is what you said.
Like this assembly we are talking about, this intake one.
Intake header. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, intake header
Yeah,
or something. In case of compressor or the
Yeah.
panels.
Yeah, you're right. In case of a small, mid-size assembly like this, it is definitely not very useful because we will not have a huge location to be identified or anything. But this is useful in case of major manufacturing assemblies like the ship or aerospace industries. For a small level assemblies, yes, this might not be useful. But maybe this, intake header is part of a bigger assembly, a bigger finished product. So in that case, for the entire finished product, also we could have the MRS defined. So this is definitely keeping in mind for complex assemblies. Yes. Okay. Now we have our EBOM and our MRS. So, okay, before we go there, if you open any of your old planning scopes that we were working on without MRS, without the snapshot, you will not find a MRS button here. Let's take this only for example. So this is a document to EBOM. So basically there's no MRS assigned at this stage. So you will not find any MRS assignment. Even in case where it is a planning scenario of 05 and you're creating a EBOM to MBOM, if it is not assigned to a snapshot, the MRS buttons, related buttons will not be available in any of the PU application because MRS gets enabled only with respect to snapshots. So we assigned our MRS, we have our EBOM in place, but we need to have a snapshot. So again, the snapshots are expected from to be sent from the third-party system. So PO will expect to receive a snapshot. Okay, but for just for our scenario, we will look into how to create a snapshot. Or rather, I will just show you what is the snapshot that we have. So maybe I will not create it because this part will not be done, by the customer. I will just show you how to just maybe see a snapshot. This can be done only using an API in the backend. So give me a second. So you need to know your snapshot ID. So snapshot IDs will not get displayed in any of your applications in the PO, right? So let me see if I can find it. Okay, we had a snapshot API to just view the details, but I think they have marked it obsolete. So we will have to use this only. Okay, so that is not available anymore. So we will have to use this. So let me just show you what should be created or how or what is expected within a snapshot when a snapshot is created, so that you will know what are the objects that will be available in a snapshot. So you have this header BOM. So we need to identify which is the header BOM for a snapshot, and we will be creating only a snapshot here. Underneath, you need to also send all of its EBOMs. You need to add the header BOM here again and send all of its EBOMs. So if you look at this structure, this is my header BOM, and I have sub-assemblies, air filter housing, intake header. But underneath air filter housing, I have throttle body, air upper box, air lower box. So I need to send 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sub-assemblies along with the header material, header BOM. I need to send all of these 6 BOMs when I am sending my snapshot. So all of the BOMs will be expected. And if it is a visual scenario, you will have to attach the visual document. So that would be the VED document with the document number. If there are any other documents like a PDF or a text file or a image, PNG image, so you can attach that as well. These, when you add it to the visual, of course, it will be considered as part of the VDS creation, where it links to the material and everything. So it will be considered as VDS file. When you attach it to the document, it will just get attached, like how you saw in the BOM app. It will just get attached as an attachment to your snapshot. So these are the values that is expected. So now if I am creating a snapshot for this BOM hierarchy, I will be sending all of these sub-assemblies along with the snapshot. I will be sending my VDS file, the file that has this visual, and the file that has this visual, and also you see this object reference here. So this is where you can send, if you have any PMI files, this is where you'll be sending. This we can have a look at later for a short PMI example. But otherwise you can send for, in our scenario, we will send EBOMs and the visual document, and we will mark it as create a snapshot. So this will come to our PO system, and it will create a snapshot. So like I said, the ID will also not be visible anyway. So this is the snapshot IDs are not required for any functional application, or maybe for the technical things, of course, it will be available. But functionally, the IDs will not be required. But for every snapshot, it will create a revision level. So this is my first snapshot that is coming in for the material intake ASM alternate 1. So it will create a revision level 1. Let's say now I have a new snapshot coming in, and I am just deleting this filter casing. So okay, say I delete this. Okay, now what happens? The modification is done, or better yet, let me say I am deleting the exhaust header. Here the modification is done under intake header. So there is a new BOM version created for intake header with some change. But when you are sending, so this will again trigger a snapshot, right? So whenever there's a change, a snapshot can be sent with the change. So this will again send a snapshot for intake header of version 002, but it will also expect all of its sub-assemblies to be sent again. So if you do not send all of the sub-assemblies again, it will get removed from the snapshot assignment. So all of this is expected again with the change in the BOM version. So when you're sending a airbox lower, you will still send it with version 1 because there is no change. But with whatever change is there, you will send it with the latest version. Okay, so when you send it with the latest change, it will create a new revision level. Now assume that I created my revision level 1 with the same hierarchy or with the same BOM structure. I send, for some reason, I trigger another snapshot, or I send another snapshot with the same hierarchy, which means that all my sub-assemblies are of alternate 1 and version 1. So it will not create a new revision level. It will always check the snapshot will always check with the previous level. So if you're with the previous snapshot version, if there are any changes. So even when you're sending documents, it will check if the document version is at least a change from the previous snapshot revision that is available in the system. Only if it is a change, it will create a new snapshot revision. If not, it will retain the same snapshot revision. A new one will not be created. Okay. So now we created a snapshot. All of these are done. Now you have to now you come to the PO side of it, and you kind of proceed with the requirement for PO. So if you remember, we have not yet created a planning scope for a EBOM to MBOM handover. Okay, we have only done a BOM document to EBOM handover. So within PEO, there is an application called Monitor Snapshot. There is an application called Monitor Snapshot, as you see here, and also there is an app called Prepare MBOM for Snapshots. Just downloading it. So there is a application Prepare MBOM creation based on Snapshot and the Monitor Snapshot app. So in the Monitor Snapshot app, this could also, without using the app, so there was a checkbox here which said create only snapshot. So even when we are sending the snapshot, you can automatically trigger this process of creating a MBOM directly. It's not mandatory to use the app in that scenario, but we will, for our sake, we will create only the snapshot and then we will continue from the PO side. So there are two options. You can either have only a snapshot and continue the rest of the process with respect to the PO application. Else, when you're sending the snapshot itself, you can trigger the process of what we will be seeing right now. Okay, so now for my example, say I have only a snapshot created and this is my EBOM. Firstly, you need to come to the Monitor Snapshot app, and if you search for it, basically as the name says, it will monitor all these snapshots and it will say what is what is the status and what is available underneath, etc. So here, you see that auxiliary data preparation status. So this is again something we covered during a theoretical part. So here it will say it is saying right now not applicable because we do not have any PMI data here. But say our example does not have any PMI data, but still for the first time it will say not initiated if you're creating only a snapshot. So before we proceed with anything, you need to come and click on prepare auxiliary data. So it will prepare it, and if applicable, it will change the status to whatever it is. If not applicable, it will change the status to not applicable. So this is our first step, and you can see that the snapshot revision is given, which is 1, but you don't see anything else. The snapshot ID is given. Okay, so this is our first step to have the auxiliary data preparation initiated. Now, when you do this process of prepare MBOM for the first time, we will see what will get prepared towards the end of it. But when you do this process for the first time, you have to come to this app. If you're doing it post that, you can always come here and you see prepare change record. You can click directly here via the monitor engineering snapshot. So we will go via this prepare MBOM creation based on snapshot. So this would be our step 1 or step 2 after creating a snapshot. Step 1 being the prepare auxiliary data. So I come here, I give my plan, give my material plant alternate 3 is what I'm using usage. And here again, you can define what your target usage is going to be. So based on this, it will create it after this.
So here in this case, already EBOM is in the system, right?
Yes, EBOM is in the system. So we created from the document, we converted it to EBOM using the VMP.
Can you go into the snapshot that particular app? Can we see anything visually?
No. Here in the snapshot, you cannot see anything visually.
Just it is an entry.
Yeah,
there is a snapshot.
Yes. Okay. So if you want to see visually after creating a snapshot, you can come to the monitor snapshot, and here you will be able to see.
That is what I wanted to see.
Okay. So here you can ignore the change record part, but you will see all the materials that is assigned, and you will be able to see the visual. If you say show visual, the visual should get loaded here. This visual will come from the VDS file that is attached in the snapshot. Okay. So yeah, this part you can ignore, but these you will be able to see from the monitor snapshot. Okay.
So this visual part, can I see before creating EBOM?
Before creating EBOM, as in you will be having the VDS file, right? So you will be sending the VDS file. So via that you can see, but within the application, you will not be able to see. You can see it outside PO using maybe Visual Enterprise Viewer or something.
Oh, okay. So when I open this VDS file with this viewer, can I see what are the materials connected to this particular drawing?
Yes, you will be able to see. Let me open. So you will be able to see what are the metadata attached to it, which in our example, we will give the metadata as the materials itself. So let me open one example.
You can take one example. So you give that a Visio file. No, you can select one example and show us.
Yeah.
The reason for asking question is I receive a VDS file, but I am also supposed to check whether all the materials are created in the system.
Yeah.
And maybe if I'm trying to create an engineering BOM, I want to check whether all the materials are extended to that particular plant. Okay, so that is the reason I'm okay.
Okay. This is how your visual file will look like in the viewer, and you can see you have the hierarchy. You can see the metadata, but you will not be. This is not a confirmation that this material is available in the system. This happens when you.
Yeah, at least I will get some data what I have to check.
Yes, that you can see. Yes.
So how did you open this file?
In the viewer, you can just whatever I've sent, you have to open it in the viewer, Visual Enterprise Viewer.
Okay. So it is like open with something like that, no? Option?
Yeah, like yes, it is open with like if you have a PNG file, you will say open with Photos application, right? So similarly, you can say open with. You should find Visual Enterprise Viewer if it is installed.
Okay.
So in case any materials are not existing, say for weld nut, you have defined it in the visual file, and you have given all the metadata like this, but in the system it is not existing. So you will get the error only when you do a document to BOM handover. So when you hand it over and you save, only that is when you get the error. That is when the check actually happens in the backend.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, we were here, prepare embalm creation. So you give all the datas, just validate the entries. So I am getting this error because I already have first planning scope created. So if you see, you will be able to create new planning scopes with the same material and plant. So it will just create a new planning scope for me, which is fine. So it's just giving a warning, shall I create a new planning scope? I'm saying okay and continue. So under engineering snapshot, you will find the engineering snapshot revision that is being picked up, and you will find all its related BOM data that is picked up from the snapshot revision level. So this is the snapshot revision level that is picked up for our material, and you will find all of the details that is again picked up with respect to the snapshot. So whatever is attached in the snapshot will come here. So again, you can navigate to different applications from here. You can you'll just be verifying the information. No actions can be taken. So here that you have option of creating a change record, which is mandatory. So you can either select an existing change record or you create a new change record. And for new change record, I will, like I mentioned, it has to be the change record type MFG. This is disabled because ID will automatically be created, and MRS snapshot is what we are creating, and you can choose your responsible person if your ID is there. So the manufacturing effectivity date is something that you need to select. We will see where this comes into picture. The date can either be the current date or something in the future. So I will give like this, and I'm saying review. So this is just a review page where you can just review all the details you have given. If you want to make any changes, you can edit and come back to review again. So what we have done here, we have just given, in the first step, we have given the material which we want to process, and the rest was picked up automatically. Then we make a choice if we want to continue with the same change record or we want to create a new change record. Now, once everything is fine, you click on prepare embalm creation. So what does the message say? The change record has been created or updated based on your selection. You will be redirected to this. So what has happened now when I clicked on prepare embalm? Firstly, it created a change record, and it will automatically assign all those EBOMs which was part of the selection criteria. You saw that what was picked up from the snapshot, all those EBOMs, and the snapshot will also get assigned. So in the newer release where we have snapshot option, in the change record you have a snapshot section. So the snapshot will get assigned, and also it will create a planning scope in the backend. In VMP, it will directly create a planning scope for you with respect to the values you have given here. So you can give production plant and usage as the target plant and usage what we had in VMP. So it will pick this as the target value and the others as the source value, and it will automatically create a planning scope. So for for snapshot, like how we saw for in VMP, we were directly creating a planning scope, right? We were selecting the planning scope scenarios, and we were creating a EBOM to embalm handover for a non-snapshot scenarios, right? In the past, so that is not possible for a snapshot scenario. You cannot directly create a planning scope. It has to be created from here. If for the same example for this 032-121, if I create a planning scope in VMP directly, it will consider it as a non-snapshot scenario. It will not pick up the snapshot. So for snapshot, you have to follow this process of prepare embalm creation, so that your change record is created, all the assignments are done within it, and the planning scope is created. Just to show you the planning scope. So it will create automatically with the planning scenario 05 because it is a EBOM to embalm handover. So you can see this is a newly created one on date today. So if I click on start planning scope, it will show the change record linked to it. So you will have to select this option. If you had created directly in the VMP, you would have not received this option before. And this is what all the description and everything we have given. So if you come here, this is how your VM. So what is the kind of steps that are eliminated from what we did in the past? If you see before snapshot, or if it is a non-snapshot scenario, what we did was we had to go to manage and assign EBOM, assign everything manually to the change record, and everything was an individual object. Like in my intake ASM, air filter housing and its related bombs, they were considered individually. We had to kind of add them individually into the change record if we had to make any changes. Now it will be a package because it's a snapshot. All of this would be handled as a package, and any change will also be considered in the snapshot, in the package level as a snapshot. So it is always linked and grouped. And of course, you have a even more simplified way where you get your change record created with just the initial step, and you also have the planning scopes created. Before, all these were in the past, for the non-snapshot scenario, this is a manual step where we come to the VMP, we create a planning scope and do everything. So these are few of the steps that will get eliminated when we come to the snapshot part. Okay, so yeah, this is the snapshot creation. So do we have any questions until here?
So in which cases we go via VMP and we create an engineering? In which cases we use a snapshot methodology?
So that is up to how the customer wants to implement it. So snapshots, it's just that in the older releases, you do not have an option of snapshot. So from 2020, you will have option of snapshot. So it is up to the customer. There are no restrictions on this can be used only for this and not this. But it's based on the customer and the release that they're using. So if they're using a newer release, they can use the snapshot, or they can stick to the traditional flow. But in the newer systems, of course, PO will recommend using snapshots.
Okay. So my feeling from all this test case demo, if suppose I don't want to change anything, I want to accept completely whatever it is coming from the VDS file. I don't want to do any modification. I just wanted to follow the BOM which has been sent in VDS file. So I can use this using the snapshot. If I have to, do some small modifications here and there, and then I can use a VMP. Is my understanding correct?
Well, in snapshot, you will still be modifying. right now we have a planning scope open, right? So I will still be modifying it on the MBOM level,
Not on EBOM, correct?
not on EBOM.
Ah.
Even before, if you were sending it via any third-party system, you will it will come to your system, but of course you will not be able to. I mean, you can modify. You're right, but since now it is linked to a snapshot, even if you modify, it will not be considered because it is not linked to the snapshot. So you will have to make sure it's linked to the snapshot. That part, yes, you're right. But for the MBOM and going forward, we will be able to make changes within PO itself for both the scenarios. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any other questions here? Okay, so this is the first part of creating a planning or a snapshot. We will see when we plan as well. There are a few changes which happen, so we will see going forward. We can take a short 5-minute break and be back. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Sandra, I have one question. Just I might have missed something. Snapshots are coming via PDMI interface.
Yes, yes, they are.
Okay. And is there any way I can create a snapshot?
From the third-party
PDS file from the PDS
from
file.
the VDS file. From the VDS file, you have to create it via the function module that I showed.
The model you have shown. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to create it by the function module. So we will also be creating another revision in this session. So we will have to get it then as well. My change record application doesn't seem to be loading. Just giving that a try.
Can you create EBOM using the snapshot, meaning your VDS file, and then can you show that cycle using the VDS file? You create a snapshot and then you convert that into EBOM. Can you show that?
Yes, Pawan. So that is what we did here, right? So we created an EBOM from the VDS file. We did a document to EBOM handover, and
That is
how we are
using
creating
the planning scope
Yes.
or the scenario 01.
Yeah.
But I want you to show us as per VDS file, and then I will use that VDS file, and I want to create a snapshot. Run the snapshot. I want to create a new engineering BOM.
So you're saying your source is the snapshot,
Yes.
right? So that is not possible for us because when you say if your source is the snapshot, if you already have the snapshot in the system, that would mean that you already have the EBOMs and materials already in the system. So that is the first step, right? That you need to have the EBOM and materials. Only then you can create a snapshot.
So that means if I use a PDMI file, PDMI interface, it will directly create EBOM for me.
Yes. So you're sending the EBOM, right? So it will directly create the
EBOM without any manual intervention. Correct?
Yes, correct. So that is the good thing for snapshot, that a lot of steps are eliminated. But yeah, for the training, we're just showing it, saying that we need to have the
Okay. I think we lost you, Sandra.
Yep, she'll be, she's there now. Chandra, can you hear us? Just a second, let me check. Give her sometimes she's joining back, or she's drop off and will rejoin, maybe within a minute.
Hi guys, sorry I got dropped off because of some network issues. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, Pawan. I think I got dropped off when we were discussing. Was the question clarified or
Yes,
there's something?
yes. So in case of PGMI, the snapshot is getting created automatically, and EBOM is getting created instantaneously. Correct. So that is my understanding. So now, in case we don't have, suppose if we are loading VDS file, and then now we are using the planning scenario, then when I'm creating EBOM, the snapshot is getting created. Correct.
No, if you're doing everything manually, then you have to create the snapshot also manually via the function module that we support.
Otherwise, it won't get created. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so I have my snap manage change record. So I know this number was created, so I'm just searching for the change record here. So you can see this is the change record that was created automatically when we did prepare MBOM scenario. And if I navigate to the change record, one small correction that all the EBOMs, all the subassemblies will not get added automatically, but you have to add it manually. The reason manually, as in you can add it directly from the VMP, you don't have to come here and make any changes. The reason being that maybe you are planning to plan the particular subassembly separately in a different planning scope. So that is the reason, but you can do it directly in the VMP. We will see that. So you can see that this is the change record that was created. You can see the snapshot got linked here, the EBOM got linked here, the header bomb, and of course we don't have an MBOM yet. The planning scope has been linked here as well. So if you open it in from the business client, you can launch VMP directly from here, but in the browser you will not be able to do that. And we have other objects that you can see. It's almost everything can be added to the change record. So this is how it is. And if you can see the header, it kind of gives you a pictorial view of, in just one shot, you can see what all is available within your change record as well. So what I will do now is I will go back to my VMP. And this is the snapshot example that I have. So I will maybe hide this for now. So you can see initially when it is loaded, you can see there is a icon saying EBOM is not scope for change record. So the subassemblies are not yet added to the change record. So which is why we are getting this locked icon. So if you select anything from here and say extend EBOM to change record, okay, this is my edit mode. Let me load again. Okay, it doesn't seem to be working for some reason, but ideally when I say extend it to the EBOM, you should get a message saying it's added to the EBOM and the lock icon should be removed. Let me see if it is coming. But nevertheless, so that is how it should have worked. So this might be an issue here. So now what we will do first thing is we will have a look at our MRS that we created. So you can see we have a column saying MRS, and if you select the first one for air filter housing, there is also, this just gives the designated ID. So you remember we gave kind of a function location saying cover left, right, up, down kind of thing. So you can see that this is the designated ID which comes up in this column. But if you choose this and click on display MRS, you can see the hierarchy. So under air intake, we have this cover, and you can also see the reference object. So for air filter housing, similarly, if I maybe choose something here, say display MRS. I think it was not adding to the change record because I see the change record is being a bit inconsistent. So I think it's something with respect to the change record, the reason why these are not being added. Okay, so here if you see, you can see this MRS again. Let me go one level down. We had something in throttle body inlet funnel. So you can see to show the multi-level hierarchy. So for inlet funnel, there is something called cover, undercover, which was for the air filter housing and which was linked to the air intake. So it will show you the hierarchy of the MRS. So like I said, this is only display, and MRS, if you see a non-snapshot scenario, the MRS will not be linked or will not be available. So we have MRS in the other panels as well, the target working everywhere. So you can see this. Now, if I plan this bomb, what I will do is I will take this air intake to the working panel, and I will add a couple of materials under that. Adding air filter casing, and maybe I will add this as a I should extend it to the change record. Since it's not working, I will add this manually because then I will be able to plan it better. Now it will cause me of, I mean, it will so we're not able to plan anything then. So I will manually add this to the change record for now. So you can, of course, also add it manually, like as you see here. Give your material number, plant usage, alternate version, and this relevance for now, keep it as change trigger. I will also add others. I will add, say, airbox lower. We'll also add this. So because app is being a bit slow, I will just add what is required for now. Okay, so I have added these. Sorry about this. The change record application is inconsistent, even though it exists. You saw that the error that the change number was not existing, even though we're making change directly. Maybe in our next session, I can just kind of show you how to add it to the change record and what happens there. But for now, I will plan it with the components that I have. So I'm opening the VMP here. All right. So I hope you can see my VMP. So what I am doing is I am adding the air intake here, and I will add filter casing underneath it. Can I add this? Okay, I can add edit components level. So I will do that. Let me add these. So what I am doing, I've added one component. I am adding a manufacturing structure. I'm adding a manufacturing structure. Say I'm using an existing material that I already have. So I have something here. I call the same thing. So whenever you add a manufacturing structure, right? So if it already has existing MBOMs within the system, you will be able to add. You will be able to call the same here. If I say yes, it will give me an option of what all is available, and it will say where is it if it is already planned in a different scope. Based on that, you can call it here. But for us, I will just add it without loading the existing MBOMs. Say no. So it will just add the manufacturing structure or the iKit here. You can add it, and I will add another component underneath it. I am now moving my iKit underneath the header BOM. Not all items have effectivity, so we will give our effectivity value. So we make some sort of planning, whatever the planning is, we plan our MBOM, right? The same thing what we saw in our previous VMP sessions, you can plan it using different aspects, whatever is required for you, maybe mark it phantom and flatten it out, everything is possible as what we saw in our previous examples as well. But the change that I wanted to point out was, one is with respect to the MRS here. Again, let me show you the MRS. So even though we brought in an intermediate path, still the MRS is intact. So this is kind of where all the paths that get created in the backend comes in handy, because even though we added an intermediate path, the MRS hierarchy is not lost. So for filter plates, you can still see the same. And for everything, you can see the MRS here. But now, say I plan my MBOM, and here I have one subassembly under air intake assembly. Say I had different subassemblies. Say I had planned throttle body, air box upper, air box lower. If I had multiple subassemblies under this air intake assembly under my MBOM, for a non snapshot scenario, if I save, this will create multiple MBOMs, of course, based on the subassembly, but our planning scope will still remain the same. We will be reusing the same planning scope over and over whenever we are making any changes, right? So now if I do a save and exit, so on save and exit, what I'm expecting is for all the sub-assemblies, a different planning scope will be created for a snapshot scenario. That is because when we have a snapshot sent to PO, it is sent as the entire BOM hierarchy, and we could have different sub-assemblies with different a number of components under that, and I mean, we will have a major complex scenario. So when we plan it, we will have multiple planning scopes created. So if required, you can plan it separately at the sub-assembly level. So all the changes can be made at the sub-assembly level. Okay, these are EBOM is not in scope. So this is what our message has come up. So our BOM is saved. Maybe we can check. I do see some inconsistencies here. So, but let's check if it is created. The BOM material was this. So here I should have received a message saying that the planning scope is created, but I don't see it for when the header one. So I think there is issues going on with the system. Unfortunately, I see a lot of issues happening. So maybe I will come back and in the next session I will show you a quick demo of how it should actually work. But I will show it in the system itself on once the issues are fixed. But ideally, for all the sub assemblies that is there underneath a planning scope, you will have different planning scopes created. Okay, so that is how a snapshot scenario will work, and that is the major difference between a non-snapshot and a snapshot scenario. That for a planning scope of the header material, sub planning scopes are created, or a planning scope split happens based on the planning that we have done. So you can, like, maybe if this was already created, so you will be able to come here and check for the planning scope for IRS IKIT 002, and you will be able to plan for that subassembly specifically. The next time I load this planning scope, load the same planning scope into KSM, I will find this as an instance, the DRS installation, because there will be a separate planning scope created for this. You will no longer be allowed to make any changes within this planning scope. So you will always have to go to the planning scope split that has happened and a new planning scope that is created. You will always have to refer to that. And any changes, because this you can see that the planning scope is already linked to the change record. So any changes you do here should automatically be updated in the change record. So if you are, let's say, using a business client, so it will be a more seamless action where you can just launch the planning scope, launch the VMP, make some changes, and whatever planning scope split happens, when you come out of the VMP, it will automatically be there in the change record. Because it is linked, you don't have to kind of remember and go search for it again. You can choose whatever planning scopes you want and plan for it as well. So this is how the planning VMP part should work. But I will maybe on Monday, I will first first few minutes, I'll just quickly show a demo on once the issue is fixed, so that you'll have a better understanding. But I hope it is clear on what is expected out of this. So what I will do now is I will quickly create an EBOM. I hope that would work. I'm going to create a version of an EBOM. So now if I go to my snapshot API, right, and we saw what does my snapshot of version 1 have of alternate 3. It has all these BOMs. So what I will do firstly is I will try when I'm creating, it means that I'm trying to send the same snapshot again to the PO system. So I will try to send the same thing. I'm giving E and effectivity date. We gave, let me see it here. We gave 28, I guess. I'm saying create a snapshot. Again, repeat your header values here. So this is a BOM version. So I will have to add for others as well. So let me copy these. So everything is of version 1. You need to specify your version separately here. So you can see that I'm giving all of my BOMs, and I will give my visual document ID. Of course, we are doing it manually, so you need to kind of know what is your document ID. I think it's this. So I'm giving my document ID here, and that is all I need. So I click on create. E is not found. I've given alternate 1. My bad. It is alternate 3 that we're using. Let me check the BOM here. If I come and search Go, So here it has created another alternate for me, another bomb version for me. Let me show you what the issue is here. Let me click on create again. Okay, so it is creating a bomb revision level. So we see that we have a new manufacturing proposed field, effectivity field here. So this is introduced very recently. So this is what is causing an issue. We do not have a field here, right? So if you see my old snapshot, I did not have a proposed effectivity field here. So it is considering this as a new change that is coming in, and it is creating a snapshot. So if once maybe because now this is not initiated. So if you do not process this, you can see this mark is not initiated everything. If you do not process, it will keep creating new snapshot irrespective of no change happening. So this is why you're seeing multiple here. One is because we have it is identifying it as different because of the proposed effectivity date, and we have one more created because we have not processed this yet. So we can quickly see that part here. So I say prepare auxiliary data. I say refresh. So it will say not applicable for me, which is true. And now I'm saying prepare a change record from here. Change record preparation failed. Let's see what the issue is. So you can go to the log from here. If at all it is failed at any point, you can come here and have a look at the log. No changes found between the current revision and the previous revision of snapshot. So it will consider all the bomb levels, right? It is saying that the bomb revision is the same and there is no change being made here. So what I will do, I will come here and create a mbomb with some change for one of the components. Maybe let me take this itself. And I say go. I will take the third alternate and I say create revision. And let's say making some change, maybe the quantity I will change here, and I'm saying create. So it will not check the inside a bomb. It will not check what is the change being made. That of course it will not do. Even if I had not made any change, if I had just created a version, it will not go inside and check if an actual change has been made. It will just check on the version level. So I will release this. So what I'm going to do now that when you have a new version, you will send a new snapshot. So I will make that change manually here. So in the EBOM, all my values are going to remain the same except for air filter housing assembly, which I will say I want to be considered in this snapshot. So I will click on create, and I have a success message here. If I go to monitor snapshot, so it says a new version is created here. You can see revision 4 snapshot. I will click on first auxiliary preparation. It is a success. Click on refresh. Now that we have a new change coming in, you can come here and click on prepare change record. So you can see that it's giving me a success message that something has been created. Now if I click on refresh, it says successful. To see the details, you have to go to the change record. So now what has happened, a change record has been linked to my snapshot. This is of revision 4. The change record is this, and I say display change record. So you can see that the EBOM of housing assembly is added here. Even though our header bomb was the intake ASM, for this change record, EBOM of housing assembly 2 has been, of version 2 has been added here. That is because when we do a prepare change record, of course, if we are having a change in the version of the bomb in the EBOM side, what would it mean when you look at the process? That if there's a change in the EBOM, maybe the manufacturing engineer, he's interested in having a look at that specific changed bomb, and he will take that forward and he'll work on it. He's not very much interested in what is already being worked upon in our previous planning bomb. So this is why the first time you create a snapshot for the initial version, it is always important to go via the prepare mbomb snapshot app, or you have to go via that so that the initial planning scope is created. Here it will compare with the previous planning scope and the versions and revisions and everything. So here whatever bomb has been changed, that will be added here, and you can specifically work on this, or you already have the intake case and planning scope added. You can also launch this and work on this as well if that is what is required. But the changed bomb is what will be added here. From here, of course, the flow will be the same, where you launch VMP. This is the engineering part, where you launch VMP and you make some changes and you create your mbomb. So one part that maybe I will come back to you on Monday is where the multiple planning scopes are created, or where a planning scope split is happening. So that part, once it is working, hopefully on Monday I will show that to you. But the other rest of the part will be different. So just to kind of jot down the difference with respect to the process of a non-snapshot and a snapshot. In non-snapshot, firstly, we will use the engineering unassigned EBOM application, and in the snapshot side, we do not have any such application. We are just expecting a snapshot to come to the PO system. Then when we come to the whole seamless flow aspect, in a non-snapshot scenario, it is not very seamless as compared to in a snapshot scenario, because in snapshot scenario you have everything where it gets created in the background, like the change record planning scopes. But in the non-snapshot scenario, you have to create all of it manually, and you have to make all the assignments manually and everything. Another major important aspect is with respect to the MRS. MRS can be viewed only for a snapshot bombs if the bomb is linked to a snapshot. And with respect to the planning scope split, this also happens only for a snapshot. So these are a few of the important aspects, and of course every change, you can see it considers every change that is coming in, and we have our change records and planning scopes being created. So this is how the snapshot and the MRS part would look like for us. So do we have any questions on this?
Do you have any process flow for different permutations and combinations? Or any steps? Because see, we are seeing this recording, okay, but just in case, if we have a
Yeah.
process steps, then we know before doing this step we have to do this step like that. So it is easy to do our example or practice in the system.
Yeah, understood. So yeah, I do not have anything handy, but I will prepare one for you, which will kind of define the process for a non-snapshot scenario and a snapshot scenario.
Snapshot scenario.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yes. All right. Do we have any other questions here?
One question related to the system requirements. Say, are you using the GUI 770 or?
Let me check. It is GUI 760. I'm using a version lower probably.
Okay, so you are using 760. Okay, so and then you are using 2021, correct?
Yes, 2021, but a couple of features like the maybe the filter effectivity which I showed, that you will still not find it in 2021, but that is a separate scenario. But others you will find it in 2021.
Yeah, the link you have given VSM file we have downloaded, but it is giving error when I'm going for a VMP_maintain transaction. No?
Pavan, sorry to interrupt. Yesterday I tried with this. There's another maintenance.
Yes, yesterday your voice is feeble. Can you come closer?
Is it audible now?
Little bit.
Breaking a bit.
It's breaking a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, there's a maintenance package for this Visual Structure Manager. I have downloaded it with the Basis Team Cell. I'll quickly share with you. Try installing it and check if it's
going away. Okay. Good. So see, in one of my projects, previous projects which we started in 2021 version, there people started saying, the Basis guys started saying, you to get a full features, you need to have a 770 GUI, because sometimes some of the functionalities are not working properly in a week. Like some kind of drop down help, some functionalities they are not working in 2021 without 770.
Okay. I mean, I have been using this for a while now. I have not faced any immediate, issues. So I'm not sure if they're talking about any specific, but for a normal flow, that maybe all the flows that we're talking about, I have not really faced any.
Because I faced this practical problem. Say, for example, in MM01, if you want to have a drop down of material type, so it is not returning proper values. So like that, I faced a problem. So for that, fix was they were saying 2021 works very good in 770.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's always good to have the latest version, so you can install and see. I think that should work. But yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at least from my side or the PO side, I don't see. I mean, maybe some usability improvements, right? That would definitely be there in the lower version. So you can definitely install and see how it suits with respect to the client.
This maintenance package would solve our problem. So let us see, and we will practice in the system for a while, and we'll come back to you on Monday.
Yes, please. Yeah. So you can maybe take this up over the weekend, and we can discuss on Monday if there are any issues being faced.
So I'm going to use this 01 scenario, right? 01.
Yes, you will use 01
because I'm using a document.
Yes, you will use 01 to create an EBOM if that works successfully for you, and if you want to continue, you can use 05 scenario and create new planning scope and do a EBOM to EBOM handover.
Okay, 01 first and 0. Okay. Then we will come to a certain comfort level. At least we can have our own example and play around with the structures.
Yeah, true. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
No, sir. From my part. Pavan, I shared you. I can download it.
Okay. In the chat.
Yeah, private chat.
Private chat. Okay.
Try it.
Yeah.
Okay, so please maybe give a try for the hands-on part over the weekend, and if there are any questions, we can have it addressed on Monday. So yes, that is from my side, and this will cover most of the topics with respect to the engineering side. The manufacturing side, we will come to that, but most of the engineering aspects, the different ways to plan EBOMs and BOMs, we have covered.
One advanced question, out of curiosity. See, when I'm creating a production order using my MBOM, and that MBOM is a unitized BOM. Okay. So when I'm creating production order, is it going to ask what is the unit number or something like that?
Yes, okay. It will maybe, for example, you're creating a sales order first. So there it will ask you for a unit number. So based on, say, I'm giving 100, based on that unit, it will pick the it will create the orders for the production order. It will create a 100% BOM by pulling out the components related to that.
So just in case if I have my production order quantity or a sales order quantity is having a 10 pieces, let us say, then what will be my?
Sorry, what will be my?
Unit number in the production order. So can I give the range there also?
No, you have to give it individually. So for every order, you have to give individual unit.
Okay. So in case of unitized, my assumption is we are going to have a different production orders for each unit, correct?
Yes, correct.
One piece production order. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Even though in the sales order, is it possible to give the range? See, for example, my sales order quantity is 10 pieces. So can I give like a 12999?
So what happens is, sorry, yes, continue.
So in the sales order, I'm getting an order of 10 pieces. So how do I mention the unit numbers in the sales order?
Yeah. So you will give your quantity, right? You have, let's say 10. So what you have to give in the unit is you cannot give a range. So you have to give the starting unit number. Say, so I'm starting from 210. From 210 to 219, it will take 10 orders and it will use that. We cannot give a range. But
okay, that is also fine for me. So it is also matching with the serial numbers, and I have 10 units here.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that is good. Just in case, see for how sales representative will come to know that this is the last unit number we have ordered. We got ordered for. Is that?
That is a valid question, but as far as I know, there is nothing that will give this information. But this is
Just in case, if I
would-
give, say for example, I have already produced 210
Yeah.
for some sales order. If I'm putting once again 210, yes, we should get some
Yeah,
error
I
message.
would expect an error, but
Yes.
I will have to confirm this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I will make a note of this. Let me check and confirm and get back to you.
It can also happen in production order, right? Say for example, if the unit number is not picked from a sales order, let us say I'm directly creating a production order.
Yeah.
And then now system is asking, and if I'm putting 210, which is already produced, so then that gives a wrong one. At least there should be some kind of report, or system should cross check and say this is your next number.
Yes, I don't think it will say the next number, that I'm sure, but at least I would expect an error to come up saying this unit is used. But
Yes.
yeah, like I said, I'll confirm that.
Yeah. So this actually triggers one more event. So if we get this error, then is there any report where I can see, okay, these are the sales order number, this unit number, or these are the production orders with this unit number?
You can see it directly in the stock requirement transaction, that is the MD04.
04.
There you will be able to see everything, which is kind of generic even outside PO, but there is nothing PO specific. So, but that would be your single point for MD04 where you can see everything.
Okay, good. So just wanted to to know how this unit is impacting planning department, the sales, and production operator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So if there are no other questions, then that is all from my side for today. And thank you everyone for joining this call. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.